Going on, guys? I'm going to let some people pile in here as the game goes final and what should be no comeback here. We'll let this game roll out final. Of course, there's a flag on the field. But I'm going to let people roll in here as the game ends. Getting this bad boy started early. Let's hope I don't jinx it by starting this early, actually. So if y'all are hopping in here, just feel free to hop in the comments. Let me know you're here. Not sure how people are going to trickle in here. We got one. What's up, Shane? Sure, people are going to trickle in here as the game goes final, but I just wanted to go ahead and start it up and hopefully not jinx everything. So we'll see. All right, there's a few people hopping in here now. So jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the game. What's up, Mr. Mitchell? Appreciate you jumping in here as well. Let me know your thoughts on the game. How the excitement of the ending, ultimately ends up in Nebraska winning a one-score game. Not really the way we'd like it to go at the end, but it is one of those things where get a win where things were going wrong. So it is good to see that, kind of build back and get the first winning season since 2016, not 1916. That would have been bad. But yeah, as some more people pile in here, I'm just going to go ahead and give my thoughts. I'll start it off just a little bit here. Ugly game, but it's a dub. Exactly. I'll start off a little bit here with my initial thoughts, offensively and defensively. Yeah, that one's one of the biggest things. That drive right before the pump block. The 3rd and 5 there. I don't like stringing that ball to the outside. I don't like the conservativeness that Holgorsen went with there at the end. I get it because understandably, you're not expecting things to go that awry, but just the mishandling of the trick play, kind of the field goal trick play there at the goal line. It's one of those things where it's like Buschini. I feel like you should just, like, instead of expecting him to run it for 5-6 yards in, let him go out there, let him throw the ball, and 2 for 2 on passes so far this season. So let him go out there, throw the ball, make a play happen. I get the idea of probably wanting to get him a touchdown, but go out there, let him throw the ball. And it's one of those things where it's like playing a little too loose, a little too relaxed, a little too comfortable with the lead in that situation, which I don't necessarily love from them. But what's going on, Justin? I appreciate you hopping in here. We got a few more. Seth, Odds Foley's still on the staff next year. This is one of the things that, with Foley, I expect him to potentially still be on the staff. I don't know if they'll fire him, but I just don't think it'll be in the special teams capacity. There's absolutely no way. If he was forced to get Satterfield out of his role, and him and Satterfield are best friends, if he was forced to get Satterfield out of his role as offensive coordinator just because it was so bad, then naturally he's going to have to move Foley. It's one of those things the fan base is not going to let him live that down. So Foley, whether he gets fired or not, I'm not sure. But will he get removed from special teams coordinator? Or I'm pretty sure he's going to be somewhere else on the staff, if not gone completely. So interviewing Matt Rule at the end of the game here. But overall, the defensive performance and what we saw from John Butler's defense, I think was one of the biggest things that a lot of us wanted to see. What was it going to look like? And I talked about this kind of on my preview video. If you saw my preview video, I accidentally left a little part in there where my camera cut out, and you heard me get a little angry there at the end. That's because my camera, I'd recorded the video. My camera had cut out at the end of it. I didn't realize it because I had my notes on the screen in front of the StreamYard. And then the second time through, the camera cut out on me again at the beginning, and I accidentally left that part in. So if you did see that on the preview, apologize for that. But I was talking about just kind of how he was probably going to do in a little bit more of an aggressive style, 4 hands in the dirt type of defense. And that's what we saw a lot today, is this 4-man front. And we're going to see a lot of that next year. Butler comes from the NFL. He's familiar with the 4-3. He's going to run a multiplicity of schemes. He's still going to have the 5 defensive backs out there a lot of the times, because essentially the 3-3-5 is kind of a combination of a 4-2-5 and a 4-2-5 and a 4-3. So what we didn't see a lot from Tony White this year was kind of him doing that 4 hands in the dirt until Ohio State. It was the Indiana game where he kind of got gashed in the run game around Ohio State. That was when he started to kind of do that. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about this in just a second with the Dylan sliding late. Now, one thing I do want to say is when it comes to that kind of play, right? That is a play that as a Texans fan, I don't know if y'all saw the Azeez Al-Shaair play where he hit and knocked out of the game. He knocked Trevor Lawrence out of the game. And it was very similar to that same situation. Essentially, what it was Lawrence put a slide late when Azeez Al-Shaair was already in his, basically in his plant to come make the hit. And but due to the reaction and Trevor Lawrence being kind of knocked out and then ultimately being knocked out for the season, they actually even followed that up with a 3-game suspension for Azeez Al-Shaair. So that is something that, is it's really subjective in terms of just how they're calling it, but they are calling it inconsistent. And I mean, for the, announcer in that situation, like I get his point, and I do think it was a late slide, but they're not policing that enough. So the subjectivity there, I don't think that's something people should hold on to, because that is a call that they consistently get wrong, because there's no really specifics in the rule about late slide or when it classifies. Like, is it when a defensive player is planting and coming forward, or already? It's something they do need to really look at. But I love the energy from Dylan there, just kind of getting up, getting in his face, and let him know that they're here. I like the confidence there in the last drive, because what we see from a lot of times with this team in these games where they get really tight, and they don't have that like killer instinct, that killer energy. And it almost felt like that kind of gave them that kind of, that little push there at the end to kind of, because then it got a little chippy, and they were chirping out there. And I feel like that kind of helped, kind of get them motivated, get them up and go out and finish that play. So they call a hold all day against either O-line. I don't think so. And I think the biggest problem here was the lack of willingness to call the pass interference. One of the things that the biggest part that you see here is just the calls on the field that they were making. They were getting them right in replay, but the calls on the field that they were making were horrible. That one ball where it kind of skipped off the turf and into his arms, like I think everybody watching at home, everybody in the crowd could see that ball skipped in. But those are dangerous plays, because then if they come out and say, oh, it's not enough evidence to overturn, it's inconclusive, then all of a sudden play stands on the field, and that's a game-changing play. Also, the run to the left side a little bit after that, we're getting more people popping in here, so I'll get into your comments in just a second. That play to the outside on the next play, where they marked him short of the first down, or when they marked him as a first down, but he was clearly short of the first down. It was pretty bad all game. And made sense. One of the umpires was retiring, so he just probably didn't care at that point. But yeah, the pass interferences were pretty atrocious. They wouldn't give us a call on those, and the lecture at the end there by the commentator about what a pass interference is, I don't think any of us wanted to hear at that point when they called it against us. So, what's up, Justin? Appreciate you hopping in here. Then he slides a yard short, so didn't get hit again. Yeah, that business decision there, but ended up working out. Ramir Johnson just kind of, I love that run from Ramir. Like Ramir's in a situation, he's not going to let us lose that game. So I love giving him the ball there in that situation, just letting him go out there and make a play. That was originally kind of stopped up at the initial surge, but he kept his legs driving, kind of pushed through, found a little crease in there, and was able to fight for some extra yards and close it out. But I think somebody just talked about it earlier. I almost reposted that Iowa block punt, because that is what it started to look at. And that game was 21-9, which is very similar to this 20-8 score. So there's way too many similarities in regards to that. I think that was a game Logan Smothers started too. Just came from coordination, taking a knee with 2 minutes left, is playing not to lose until we play to win. Yeah, a little too conservative there. I was over on coordination stream for a little bit from halftime through the third quarter. So good time over there. But yeah, that's what they got to get out of the habit of, playing not to lose. The call on the 3rd and 5 before that punt that got blocked, just kind of stringing it outside wide when a lot of those plays out to the outside were just not working. I don't like that. You're putting us in a position to where you have a play kind of already starting in the backfield, a yard behind the line of scrimmage. I like throwing to the six there and giving yourself more of a chance, or at least, throwing it 2 or 3 yards up the field and letting them fight for it. Yeah, that's really got to be hammered in. And Holgorsen, he does have that mindset, like that aggressive killer mentality mindset. So I'm not sure what the thought process was there. But yeah, with this team, we've seen that no lead is a sure thing at all. Absolutely. Let's get real. Foley's a common denominator for 2 years. Very bad special teams, 100%. I think every fan right now doesn't want him to be on the bus back home. But I don't know what it is. The relationship there with Rule, I don't know what it is where he hasn't moved him out of the special team spot already, but that has to happen. Absolutely. What's going on, Otto? Appreciate you hopping in here. What do you think of the nasty juke by Emmett? What do you think next year holds for him? So I will say this. Emmett, part of his return, right? He, with Satterfield last year, he was the talk about personal relationship issues with him and Satterfield. There was some credence to that, because I heard that from a very valid source. And so Satterfield, last year, gave him, he was in 2023, he was getting half the first team reps. In the 2023 offseason, he was getting half the first team reps. No, but not a lot of people realize that. But then in 2023, he didn't really play until Gabe and Ramir got hurt, and then he was kind of, thrust into that starting role. So then we come out the beginning of this year as well, and he is thinking he's the number one guy, and then they come out in the first game and things change, right? And then all of a sudden, he's seeing the field, and we're not really understanding why. So when he entered the portal, Dana Holgorsen kind of had a conversation with him and was talking about like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. And basically what he did is he said he's going to give him, at least 50% of the first team reps at the very least, but he wants him to be the number one guy. And Emmett wanted to be at Nebraska. And that was part of the reason he came back. So I think he's going to be such an incremental and extremely, big piece of this offense because he's going to be worked into it throughout the off season. And now Holgorsen had a little bit of time here to work him into the offense based on kind of his schemes and stuff like that, get him open in space. We saw a lot of that towards the end of the season. But Emmett's skill set is perfectly designed for this offense. Dante Dowdle's was not. Dante Dowdle's situational, but Quentin Ives is kind of that big back. We kind of saw that earlier. From New Jersey, so he plays a hard physical running style as well. So Emmett's going to have a big year next year, especially because like what we saw this year again was just Dana kind of throwing him in there and kind of working with him. But immediately when Dana came in, he questioned why he's not the starter because he saw the talent, just like we all saw the talent. And we all questioned the same thing. But again, personal relationships do matter in that regard. And so, it was one of those things where they had to kind of mitigate that and mediate that. And then ultimately he came back. And so I expect him to be a huge part of the offense. But that juke by Emmett, I've talked about this a lot, where Emmett can make guys miss in a phone booth. And what I mean by that is he has some of the best cuts from a sit still positions, which is very, very important, especially at the line of scrimmage. In college football, you got to at least make one guy miss at the line of scrimmage in most situations. And that's where he thrives. And then when he gets to the second level, he can really start moving around. It's just getting past that first level. And once he's operating that second level, his vision, his ability to have that quick feet, not only that, his explosive step when he plants and goes, he accelerates quickly. And that gets him a lot of yards, and they're just implementing him in the passing game more. He's going to be a huge part of this offense. I expect big, big numbers from him next year. Absolutely. I think it may have been BC defender threw his shoulder, elbow into Dylan, and the ref saw that and threw it potentially. Again, sometimes with those slides, like the Aziz Al-Shair, that's kind of what some people try to say with the forearm going into it. But also another thing when the slides are late too, the quarterback's level is going down, and they're kind of already kind of leaning into it, jumping into it, and so they're kind of throwing that forearm out there, and the head level of the quarterback's also lowering. So I don't mind the call at all. Of course, I don't mind the call. I'm good with it. We got calls missed all over the field for us. But as a Texans fan in that Azeez Al-Shaair situation, I hated that call. And the fact that they held it up with a 3-game suspension just shows that they really don't kind of have any consistency on this, even after reviewing it. Oh, what's going on, Otto? Man, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. So if y'all got a membership, just to let y'all know what's going to be coming with those. I talked about this at the beginning of my last video. So basically, some of my All-22 film footage was copyright struck, whatever you want to call it, by a company that helps produce ESPN broadcast, and they said it was a ESPN broadcast copyright infringement, and it's all 22 press box footage. So I actually I'm going to be forced to delete that video. They were taking all my monetization from it, and I disputed it and appealed. And YouTube does not get involved. It's protected under fair use and everything, and it's not even copyright. And YouTube doesn't intervene. They don't protect creators. So essentially what happens is they send the dispute back to the company that said it was copyright, and they get to decide. And then the appeal goes back to them as well. The only way I could win that battle is by taking it to legal process and going to court with this big company. And obviously I can't afford to do that. So some of my film breakdowns will be members only. I'm still going to put, them on the channel, some of them on the channel, a lot of them on the channel for y'all as well. But those might run the risk of being demonetized. So if y'all do want to become a member, that would really, really help me out. I don't like putting things behind a paywall, but I don't know why this happened. So thank you so much, Otto. I appreciate that. And if you did get the gifted, give Otto a shout out there. So let me get back into these. We did it. What's up, Kayla? Appreciate you hopping in here. Yes, sir, Jose. Appreciate you hopping in here as well. SEC refs, always let them play. Navy. Shout out to Navy for beating Oklahoma too. I'm a Navy veteran, so I love to see that. Ugly game, but I'll still take a W. Exactly. We knew it wasn't going to come easy. We thought it was there for a little bit, but yeah. Nebraska, but at least they didn't blow it. Foley needs to go or be demoted 100%. First winning season in forever. Oddly enough, 2016 was the last time Nebraska had a plus margin in the turnover differential department. So it's over. Winning season. Deep breath. ABC Weather Channel wouldn't let me watch on YouTube TV, so I missed a lot of that. Stinks. One of the things that I do want to talk about too, and I'll continue getting your comments, is some of the young guys that got in this rotation. And I talked about that, but Amari Sanders was listed second on the depth chart. And, we saw other players rotating in there that weren't on the depth chart. Ochoa was in there on the end. I saw him there for a couple plays. Then he came out and, kind of ran that quarterback out of the pocket in that situation. Jordan Ochoa. So a lot of these guys who haven't got a lot of playing time that played extremely well in this game. And that was one of the things that we wanted to see because, 14 of the 25 players on this depth chart were sophomores or below, either sophomores or redshirt freshmen on the defensive side of the ball. And so that's going to be the key to really making this kind of work under John Butler and continue to develop these guys. But he's going to run this aggressive style of defense that we saw, the DB coach as well. I did a video on him, and he also likes to have his defensive backs run this very, very downhill aggressive style as well. And I think some of the time these older defensive backs are really struggling in the system. I'm not sure what it is, but we see, Hartzog really struggling, Singleton really struggling. And so, we saw a lot of good play from these young defensive backs. So I think we got a good stable of young defensive backs ahead of us. And Sia Wright, of course, we saw him come on this year. When talking about him, he didn't play football for a lot of last season at USC, came into the process late. So the fact that he was able to get out there, and prove his worth the way he did was excellent. And then, we also got Bly Hill, who's going to be coming back fully this season. I was very excited about Bly Hill because Bly Hill has that length that we've been lacking in the defensive backfield. He's about 6'3", long, rangy type defender. And a lot of our DBs are 6 foot, 5'11". And so that length was a lot of what we were missing there. So this defensive back room under this new staff and this D-line under this new staff. I expect them to kind of take off this next season just because we got these guys in here who are proven as developers. And like I said, Donovan Jones out there at cornerback making a couple plays, just the youngster getting out there in a big situation, making a couple plays. So Donovan Jones might be a name that we hear a lot next year as well. So on top of Williams Wandery coming in, we're going to be missing Nash and Ty. You got Ty coming off the edge as kind of that run-stopping, contained defensive end, where Jamari Butler was more of that pass-rushing defensive end. So Williams and Wandery coming in, and he's going to be kind of a duo in that regard in terms of being able to rush the passer and kind of contain on the run. And but the way Nebraska's going through the portal, they are filling these spots with intention. They are having a lot of intent through the portal. A lot of these, constant updates on the transfer portal about guys visiting and where we stand with them. Well, this is a new territory with the 105-man scholarships, because everybody that they're bringing in does not necessarily mean that they're going to try to get them to come. It's an interview for both sides. And so, that's why the portal this year has been very interesting and interesting to cover, because every little detail that we hear doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, because we've seen it transpire, Dane Key going to Georgia, they were the favorite, him coming back, other guys that we thought were favorite to land go elsewhere. And we do have that second portal coming around as well early next year. And I think this was a good showcase defensively and offensively throughout the end of this season to really get some of those guys looking at Nebraska as a legitimate place that they want to come play. So excellent performance by the defense. The biggest part was the special teams kind of screwing it. Who was the MVP of who's my MVP of the bowl? Man, that's tough. Right. I think it's gotta be, Raiola. Typically that is kind of a quarterback type of thing that they do, but also Shavers, man. Shavers had a great game. Riley Van Poppel came up huge. But what we're seeing from Shavers and what Matt Rule talked about earlier this season with Vincent Shavers is, he plays so fast. And the way he plays, he was going to come in and accidentally make plays just because of how fast he plays. He was also going to be out of position at times. But what we've seen over the course of the season as his snap counts increased, and we saw in this game, is he's still playing fast, but now he's playing under a lot more control. And he's still a true freshman. So for him to develop the way he has over the course of the season and still be, able to out there play fast, hasn't slowed it down too much, still be in a good position to make plays, and a very good sure tackler. That there are a couple times that we had some terrible tackling from the upperclassmen. And hopefully that is gone going forward. So announcers, I'd be curious to hear who y'all think, though. Who's y'all's MVP of the bowl? Announcers were absolutely god-awful in this game, not pointing out missed calls, whining over everything else. Yeah, 100%. The early Ja'Cory Barney pass where they're like Dylan overthrew him. He should have been laying out. I don't know how he's supposed to lay out when the DB has his shoulder pad in his grasp and is yanking it backwards. And then, like I said, giving us a lecture on what a pass interference is on that one that they finally called for Boston College and not us. It was pretty bad. Deadass watching you on my new MetaQuest VR headset. So you're on the big screen like a movie theater. I'm sorry for what you have to see, man. It's not a pretty sight to see me on the big screen, but I appreciate you. BA actually won the giveaway for the cards. So I did a chat GPT, entered all the names, did a roll on there where they selected a random winner. The first winner did not complete all the steps, so I re-rolled, and BA won the card. So I will be probably doing another giveaway before too long on something like this. And so y'all just stay tuned for that as well. So, and if y'all don't mind liking the stream, really helps me out in the algorithm. If y'all don't mind dropping a like, 93 people in here, so it'd be greatly appreciated if y'all could drop a like on the stream. I'm not good at asking for that stuff because I hate doing it, but I do appreciate it. Nebraska was screwing around, not driving it down their throats. Yeah, until the end. I feel like that what happened at the end is what we should have done on that drive before that block punt. Absolutely. We got to get the killer instinct in the system earlier, because then you run the risk of that drive being stalled, and then they got all the momentum coming back their way. Should have been an easier win, dominate the entire game and made it close. Absolutely. But nothing comes easy with us. And, still remnants of that. Like, and some of that will go away when some of these upperclassmen go out. But, happy with the win. And it was supposed to be a close game. I just think we kind of got a little bit, played with our food a little bit there, trying to get Bushini that touchdown on that fake field goal. I say in that situation, just leave your offense out there. That's your best situation to score in that. Leave your offense out there. Yes, Joel, special teams, horrendous. Absolutely. The process, everything, nothing's gotten better. It's seemingly gotten worse. So 100% ABC, BC homers. Yep, without a doubt. Nail biter, but the veteran Ramir does it for Nebraska. Our defense was awesome until they got tired. Overall, good game. Defense, I still don't blame the defense for any of this. They played their tail off and with their backs against the wall. And I will say, Bill O'Brien, red zone offense. As a Texans fan, this is my revenge game for Bill O'Brien. But the last season with Houston, 50%. He was 26th in the NFL in red zone conversion rate. So some things never change with old Mr. Butt Chin there. Otto, number 14. Like number 14? If so, y'all drop a like. Playing not to lose by kneeling. There's enough time to run the clock out. I think he's talking about playing not to lose with the drives prior to that. Playing not to lose on the 3rd and 5 where we're throwing it out on a perimeter pass wide when perimeter plays have not been working. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for helping me get the likes up. Just because we won, enjoy. Exactly. I am not upset at all with that. Otto's a G. Yes, he is. What's up, Scott? Appreciate you hopping in here, man. Gen Raid Pod. I'm a part of there. I'm a host on there now with those guys. So y'all can catch us every Monday over at the Gen Red Pod. I'm happy to be an addition over to their team as well. So Clown Show didn't disappoint. Now on to the Three Stooges at 5 p.m. What's up, Fongwei? Gobble, gobble, Otto. Congrats, Huskers. I appreciate you, David. Thank you so much for hopping in here. I have the Buckeyes winning the national championship in my bracket, playing Notre Dame, surprisingly. So we'll see how that goes. But I got Notre Dame versus Ohio State with Ohio State winning. How about that block by Harburg? Yes, the one on the outside where he pancaked the guy. Harburg, this is what we've kind of talked about a lot with Harburg. And shout out to Harburg. He followed me on X. Love Harburg, man. But one of the things that we do always appreciate about Harburg is he's going to do whatever it takes to help this team win. Everywhere they put him, he hasn't complained. He was in the tight end room all of 2022, and then he had to step in 2023 and become a starting quarterback. And just as the season went along, running the ball as many times as he did, his body wore down. And we saw that where he got a little bit more tentative with taking hits at the line of scrimmage. And his mechanics needed to be refined. But this is the best position for him going forward. Utilize that 6'5", 6'4" frame, and he plays hard. He's going to battle to the whistle, and effort will beat talent 9 times out of 10. If you get talent that doesn't work hard, it's not going to matter. Effort is going to beat talent, and he has both of those things. He's not like one of those elite talents, but has the potential to be at this position. And I'm really happy that they made the move there to get him, kind of in that position. And we got to see a taste of it today, and excited for him moving forward. Another thing when it comes to the quarterback position, we did get the quarterback from Purdue. Just a little bit of a backstory on him. He was the reason why we recruited him is he was coached and recruited by Graham Harrell over at Purdue. Graham Harrell was also coached by Dana Holgorsen. And then, so there's that connection there. And then Holgorsen also tried to recruit him to Houston. So we got him coming up as a backup, and the transfer rules when it comes to the JUCO, extra. I'm wondering if we're going to use this for Gramstead. I still expect Gramstead to kind of be a GA and kind of a coach on this staff. But with Gramstead, because it's 2020 or beyond that, and NAIA does count towards that. So there's potential Gramstead could get some more eligibility as well. Great barn resurrecting game. Go Big Red. Well management of the clock game ball, Ramir. Yeah, it's hard not to give the game ball to Ramir especially after that last play. Solid block for Heinrich Harburg. Yes. Thank God we have a way better special teams unit out of the portal. Yep. And we got a great punter coming as well. Go Big Red, man. Looking like a snack. Someone give this man a Bad Boys mower. Hey, actually, my mom bought a Bad Boy mower like 6 months ago. Out in Texas, we got a big old pasture, a lot of land. So she got herself a Bad Boy mower. So, and it didn't come with a DJ, though. Somebody made a comment. Did they come with the DJ like it had in the game? No, they don't come with the DJ. I guess she got the discount edition. It would be nice to win a game without. Yeah, it would. It would. But we won the game. Again, I'm not going to complain too much. Fire Ed Foley. Leave him there. Leave him in New York. Hell yeah, Navy. Yes, sir. I love the trolling afterwards where they said it just means more at Navy too. Love it. And beat Army. Let's go. Best play that one where our wide receivers ran down the field and then we dumped it to the tight end of the line of scrimmage. Yes. The Lindenmeyer. Are you talking about the Lindenmeyer play? Where they kind of, blitzed down the field and we snuck him out. I love some of these plays by Lindenmeyer, getting the ball in his hands, and you see him, the effort. Again, the effort with Lindenmeyer, like not just conceding. He's catching the ball and he's fighting for extra yards. Those extra yards matter 100%. Shavers went off today. Absolutely. He had a showcase game. And like I said, honestly, might give him the game ball MVP if I was the picking it, but Shavers just is going to be a first team All-American one day and maybe next year. Thank you for hopping in here, Brandon. Donovan Jones was solid. Yes, he was. If y'all saw him, well, they called his name out a little later, but 37 out there. And then Jordan Ochoa was number 94 at the end there. But Donovan Jones played really, really well in coverage. You noticed that because they didn't call his name a ton because he was really kind of locking it up on his side of the field. A little bit more of a Singleton and Hartzog mistake show when it comes to that. Sierra Wright played pretty well. But Donovan Jones stepped up, and hopefully we see more of him next year. But again, Maury Sanders was listed second on the depth chart. Not sure what happened with that. So Donovan Jones came up and played over him. They really work the tight ends. Yes, and that's a part of what Holgorsen likes to do. He gets everybody involved. And talked about his offense a lot, but it's about rhythm, right? It's about taking what the defense gives. Whereas Satterfield was more so, he's just trying to make his schemes work, even if it's against a defensive coverage that is not designed to work against. Or he's, trying to target the deep part of the field. And I talked about this before where under Satterfield, we went from about a 21% targeting of the short part of the field to the first game with Holgorsen, 31.6. And we went 12 for 12. We went 4 for 6 with Satterfield, 12 for 12 under Holgorsen, with an average depth of target of 9.3 yards. So that short part of the field is really opening up those deep passes. We just got to be able to hit those. But when we start hitting those deep passes, that'll open up the run a little bit more, bring those guys back, those defensive backs a little bit more backwards. And, the wider splits in the air raid, again, leads to a little bit more of a bigger run lanes. So we got to get that stuff going on the perimeter, though. That's another big part of this offense is really getting the field spread out wide and getting these guys from, hash to hash. And so we got to get that outside stuff going because that's going to open up a lot more of the middle of the field, and it's going to open up those bigger windows for Dylan Raiola. But, you see it early in the game on that second drive where it's just getting the ball out of Raiola's hands quickly, making him feel comfortable, and he's looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket. He made that jump throw kind of completion. He's seeing the field a lot better. He's not, getting lurked by linebackers like he was, because if you're getting picked off by linebackers, typically that's a sign of not seeing the field well. So made a lot of progress under Holgorsen for sure. Want to know all-time versus Boston College? I'll take that. Me too. Williams is going to be a monster with the scheme, 100%. Yes, he's going to be fantastic. A lot of people knocking him for last year's performance, but again, he was a true freshman and was going to have meaningful, was projected to be a starter this year. Haven't seen a winning season or a bowl game since I was a junior in high school. All right, we get it, BA, you're young. No, at 2016, I was 26. I was 2 years fresh out of the military, actually. I agree, Pitt Snipe. What was it, 7 receptions by the tight end? I'll go back and look at that in just a second. More than just Fedoni swinging outside. Yes, got him up the field. And that, again, another thing, Fedoni has 2 ACL surgeries. And we're trying to swing it out wide and make him make cuts up the field. So now we're finally getting him in a position to where he's got good hands, man. Use his hands, get the ball to him in space, and let him go make a play. And he can catch in traffic too. We just weren't really playing his strengths much at all. I love Fedoni. Haven't checked the numbers yet. Figured Josh would get to stats of. Oh yeah, appreciate that. I will. I'm just trying to go through some of your comments here, but I will. D played more aggressive, 100%, and that was part of what I talked about in my preview. Is Butler's going to run a multiplicity of schemes, but he's going to run an aggressive downhill style. And I talked about how he was going to run more blitzes than Tony White. And that's exactly what we saw today. Again, just a myriad of different things where you have, crosses, you have delayed blitzes, and just the way he positioned the line, a lot more bear fronts where they're lined up head over, some over, fronts, and just changing up the multiplicity as well. You had 3 down linemen, you had 4 down linemen. I think there was a lot more diversity when that happened. And then that leads to more being able to throw different blitzes at him from different looks for sure. Do we land the Washington State guy tonight? That I'm not 100% sure on. I don't know if it'll be tonight, but I do feel really good about where we stand with him. I'll tell you that much. I don't know when it'll be, but I feel really good about it. I'll just leave it at that. D was aggressive, but the wet sponge playing surface definitely made them look like that was also part of what it seemed like Emmett wasn't able to get up to his top speed. It seemed like the field was playing a big factor in that. And Emmett Johnson, relying so much on that ability to cut, that being taken away from him was I think that was hindering his performance a little bit. Definitely a crappy venue. All right. Cool. So let me just go to some of the stats real quick, and then I'll jump back in your comments. So continue to keep those coming in here. Well, I just saw the Chargers are up 40-7 on the Patriots. And I'll also screenshot the first half stats as well. So we'll see where we stand in terms of that. First half stats were very interesting in terms of the score and how they related. So let's see here. Bowl games. Hold on, let me just pull it up here. Versus Boston College. And I'm not going to lie, their quarterback did pretty well, all things considered. Grayson James got better as the season went along. Again, not much of a dual threat guy like Castellanos was. Grayson James, more of a 6'3" pro style offense guy. And then their other quarterback, Castellanos, was 5'9", more of that dual threat, had over 1,000 yards rushing last year. So, but let me pull these up here for y'all so you can see them as well. All right. And if you're coming in here now, if you don't mind just hitting that like button, like I said, it really, really helps me out. I appreciate y'all. Okay. So we're going to get into the individual stats and we'll go into the team stats. But the biggest thing here is Kai Robichaux. Stopping Kai Robichaux as much as we did, hindering his, he had 700 yards this year, 10 touchdowns, and we held his long to 11. So the run defense, again, just standing up big time in this game and allowing them 47 yards, 1.8 per carry. We get down here to the receivers. So we had Lewis Bond, who was their most targeted receiver. I think he had 60 receptions on the year, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure which one was the other receiver. It might have been Jeremiah Franklin. One of these guys was averaging over 18 yards a catch. It wasn't him. And really kind of didn't let them get that deep pass going. But, Lewis Bond was going to get his 7 receptions, 99 yards. And we got Turbo Richard here, 2 receptions for 62 yards. Not sure. One of those was that play to the outside where we missed a couple tackles and then he was able to rattle down to like the 50-yard line. But stopping Kai Robichaux was going to be the biggest part of this. You let Grayson James use his legs a little bit, that's fine. Like I said, he's not a dual threat guy, so he's not going to beat you there. And all right, let's go overhead to Nebraska stats and we'll get into the team stats. So again, efficient for Dylan Raiola. So Grayson James, 26 for 41, 23 for 31. And we've seen this increase a lot for Raiola. And it's as simple as, like I said, just getting the ball out of his hands quickly, letting him see some of those passes get into his receiver's hands, and get him comfortable in the pocket. Getting the ball out of the hands quick, though, that's the biggest part of this. I talked about it where Boston College's Castellanos had a time to throw of 3.21 seconds, Grayson James 2.7. So it makes a big difference. And then Buschini bringing it up with the 1-for-1. I think he is 2 for 2 on the season. Emmett Johnson, 14 carries, 68 yards, 4.9 in what was probably a limited game. Again, couldn't get up to his top speed in a lot of situations. Ramir Johnson, 9 carries for 59 yards, 6.6 average. And then we got Quentin Ives getting there for the touchdown. Love to see that. Quentin Ives, just a big body guy that I think we're going to see hopefully a lot of next year for sure. Banks, 4 receptions, 79 yards, had some great catches there, even though he was being interfered with, weren't called. Fedoni, 5 receptions for 50 yards. Again, average 10 yards. Getting him out there down the field and letting him do, what he does best. Just he has a really good catch radius. He has strong hands, and he's strong enough to battle through contact. So getting him forward ahead of the line to gain and not swinging him out wide, I never understood that. Emmett Johnson, 5 receptions, 28 yards. And then Lindenmeyer. What Lindenmeyer did in these 2 catches was big time in terms of the moment. He was stopped behind the line of scrimmage on that 3rd down. We were backed up and was able to fight for about 6 more yards on that. So, and then that delayed blitz or that delayed, route where he was blocking and then snuck out of the backfield. Just those little wrinkles are what we didn't see. And they talked about how we're going to see more wrinkles of this offense because he's had a little bit more time to work with them. Corey Barney, 3 catches, 16 yards. Ramir, what you see here, again, just spreading it out. Harburg, 1 for 8, but had some really good routes. And again, just his blocking was excellent, especially on the perimeter. So that's one of the things that when you have a guy going to tight end, he needs to be able to block to be a do-it-all. We talk about Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce is really that receiving tight end. Throughout this time, George Kittle has been the best tight end in football because he's the best all-around tight end in terms of being able to block, but also being able to catch. Kelsey's more of that like receiver style. And so it's nice to see Harburg getting out there and laying some blocks, but not only that, finishing blocks. That's what we saw in that perimeter where he pancaked that guy. He finished the blocks and just kind of battled through them. And that's just effort. Again, doesn't give up on the play, plays to the whistle. Emmett Johnson had that fumble. One thing about that fumble, hard to blame him too terribly much. He got hit on that first hit and kind of bent him backwards, and then the other guy came and helmet right on the ball. Really hard to blame him. Like I said, too much. May be able to blame him for not getting 2 hands on the ball, but again, it's a hard situation to hold on to that ball. So Emmett Johnson, not one of those guys that fumbles. We saw Emmett Johnson, going into the end zone with nobody around him with 2 hands on the ball a lot. So Bullock played excellent today. Bullock has been one of our defenders who's been very consistent at times, and sometimes, just playing a little bit out of where he needs to be, just because sometimes his defense, there was a lack of trust to the guy next to him whenever Nebraska's defense would get on their heels and would slide him a little bit out of position. But John Bullock, one of our best defenders consistently throughout the season. And then you have Ty Robinson, 1 total, 1 solo, TFL, Shavers. I'm not sure why they don't have more of the tackle numbers here, because I don't think this is fully correct. Buschini, 1 punt, 47 yards. And then we got kind of return. And Andrew Marshall is going to be a big part of this return game next year. So we got a kind of more of a dedicated return man coming in next year as well. Let's go to team stats. 3rd down efficiency. Now, this needs to be improved. 100% needs to be improved. First half, we stayed out of 3rd down a lot. I think we were like 2 for 3 on 3rd downs in the first half. So stayed out of those 3rd down situations. 3rd down efficiency for them, 6 for 12. Again, it's one of those things where Nebraska in the first half was stopping a lot more of the 3rd downs. In the second half, weren't able to get off the field as much. But again, just kind of, you put your defense back against the wall a lot, that's gonna eventually happen. They get a little worn down. But this was, of course, the 4th down stops. This was, when they needed to step up in the biggest moments, that's exactly what they did. 0 for 4 and then 3 for 4, 4 down efficiency for Nebraska. Ended up with ultimately more yards, but Boston College led in yards for most of the game. You see right here just kind of the Efficiency by Nebraska's quarterbacks, very similar in terms of yards per pass. Rushing, Nebraska dominated that, 1.8, 4.0, and then penalties. Nebraska really did good playing discipline for the most part in the beginning, early part of the game, and then got a little bit sloppy there towards the later part of the game, but won the time possession by the end of it, and that ultimately was the difference. So, and again, special teams, part of the only reason that Boston College was in it. So let's let me dive into some more of your comments here. See where I was at. Take a sip of water real quick. Look like our D-line were the only ones getting firm footing out there. Yeah. At times, yeah, for sure. It was really hard, and that playing surface is a lot different. And again, 20 minutes before kick, there was rain, kind of make it everybody was sliding around out there. Although the BC receivers that fell down and slid around a lot in the first half. Can't wait to see Shavers and Warnery next year. It's going to be fun to watch, without a doubt. Willis McGahee, we got Cam Linhart coming out, Riley Van Poppel, like just a stud, star-studded defense of young guys coming out next year with a lot of exciting names. Keona Davis. I'm okay with the venue. Agree they should have done better. Bowl games supposed to be in some quirky places. Yeah, it was a good experience. Not a lot of turnout, though, for this one. Understandably so. Key Hunter Barney starting next year. Yeah, Dane Key, if you haven't seen my breakdown on him, special player. Excellent route runner. Does some very good things at the top of his break. He doesn't let people beat him in press man. Really strong hands, but he's really good at just kind of knowing situations, and you'll see that on my film review, but also kind of like Jamal Banks had in those situations where he was interfered with and was still able to make the catch, fight through the contact and make the catch. Dane Key is one of those guys that can do that. Sure-handed guy, and he is going to be a huge part of this. And Isaiah Hunter is one of those guys that is going to kind of be what Isaiah Nair was at like Wyoming, where you're going to get the ball in his hands and let him just operate, let him get his feet working. But he also can go up and get the ball at the catch point. Strong hands as well, can fight through contact, pretty good in the red zone. I think Dane Key is going to be the biggest part of that. And then Isaiah Hunter is going to be that shifty guy you get out on the perimeter. And then, of course, Barney, you're going to be able to attack him all over the field, put him wherever, playing off those guys. So Harburg, yeah, 100% great. Harburg is just stuck with it no matter what. So he's a Husker through and through. Forgetting Mills, I think he also starts next year, at least a plethora of snaps. Yeah, 100%. Tight end run blocking needs to improve. Yes, it does. But like I said, we saw some good stuff for Harburg out there. I'm waiting for the PFF numbers to come out because I'm curious to see how the blocking, graded out. I saw Fedoni miss a couple blocks, but he also laid a couple good blocks. So I'm curious to see how that graded out. See Story Black at Fleet Week. A bunch of us got free nosebleed tickets to Yankees after the announcers called us out in our dress blues. Steinbrenner brought us. That's awesome, man. That's great. That's pretty. I never actually got to go to a Fleet Week, believe it or not. I was never on a boat when I was in the Navy. I went to Manama, Bahrain for 3 years. Worked over there. It's a little island off the coast of Saudi Arabia. So my first 3 years were over there, and then I went to Kings Bay, Georgia, and worked at a Marine Corps Security Force battalion until I got out. So good show, man. Got to take the wife out. Hey, Kyle, y'all have a good time, man. I appreciate you hopping in here and supporting as always. Go Big Red, man. For a photo op, then he gave us tickets behind the dugout the next day. Never paid for a single, but that's pretty cool. I'm not a big Yankees guy, but that is pretty cool. All right, Otto, if you're out, appreciate you stopping in, man. Thank you so much for the gifted as well. Go Big Red. We have a nice opportunity to get some young talent in some starting positions next year. Yes, 100%. I think a lot of our starting talent next year is going to be youngsters, not only because that's what we got a lot of to step in, but I think they've earned their spot. They've earned their keep there over some of the upperclassmen as well. Anyone not concerned about how BC moved on the ball on us? How does that happen? Well, situations. Defense was put in a lot of backs up against the wall type of situations. And ultimately, it's really hard to continue to play that, and stop them throughout the game. When you have your back up against the wall defensively, eventually it's going to break, right? And the biggest thing is they didn't break. Yeah, it was a bend, don't break. And again, I hate that phrase because Eric Shenander talked about it, but he bent and broke. But new staff defensively, new defensive coordinator, and again, they played with their backs up against the wall a lot, but they stood up when they needed to. BC kicks 4 field goals, set a go. Then BC wins. Well, we can also say that about Nebraska. The thing, we won, so we can sit here and play the what if game all we want. But what's the point in that? What's the point in it? We won the game, got the stops when we needed to. They didn't kick the field goals because they missed the first 2. Nebraska went for it on 4th down, didn't get points out of that. So we could play the what if game all we want, be negative all we want, but I'm not going to sit here and be negative about a win. O-line protected Dillon very well today. Yes, they did. Again, another part of that is Dana Holgorsen taking some of the pressure off of them by allowing him to get the ball out of his hands quickly and into space and really make these guys have to block a lot less. And another thing too is just Raiola staying in the pocket takes a lot of stress off of these O-linemen. Not too worried, lots of talent. Yes, 100%. I think the 3-3-5 will be kind of, when we talk about base defenses right now, I feel like that's kind of a misnomer in a way in modern college football, because we're going to see, it may be the base, but some games we're going to come out with a 4-3 way more than we're going to see, the 3-man front and vice versa. So it's going to be a multiplicity of fronts without a doubt, but young guys look really good. Absolutely. Starting to think Uncle Donnie might be able to coach a line. The line's been progressing the whole time, 100%. He's a really good coach for sure. Y'all are kids. Oh man, sorry, my screen went black when I had to turn my left monitor on. Here we go. Y'all are kids. I retired from the DoD in '97. All right, David. David's probably got some good stories then, because that's back when the military was fun. My grandpa was also in the Navy. My uncle was in the Navy as well, and they got some stories from back in the day. My fun fact, my grandpa actually went AWOL and hitchhiked from Florida to Texas to see my mom be born. So very interesting story there. Yeah, went AWOL just to go watch my mom be born because they would not allow him to leave. So, and actually him and my grandma knew each other for 3 weeks and then got married, and they're still together today. Wild stories. I like how Dillon was really throwing it down the field. Most I've seen in a while anymore. 20 plus yard plays, chunk plays, without a doubt. Again, those balls will start to fall into their hands, and that's really what's going to be opening up this offense. When we get that deep game going really well, it'll open up this offense tremendously. So I'm only 71 years old too. Young buck still. You're young buck. Yeah, exactly. Snipe. BC QB did look pretty good, mate. Yeah, he is. He's solid. Like I said, he played pretty well as the season went along. FIU wasn't the best. Had about a 58% completion percentage there, but over the course of this season, his adjusted completion percentage was 75%. So adjusted completion percentage is about, it factors in drops as well. So he started the last 3 games of the season and played pretty efficiently. So Dillon finished just under 3K for the season. How much more will he throw next year if he stays healthy? He'll throw. The thing about it, he'll throw a lot more, but he'll also complete a lot more passes. He'll be a lot more efficient. I think Dillon passed up Adrian Martinez for the passing yards as well during this game. But I'm going to say next year I see Raiola being in the 3,800 kind of yards passing range, and I'm going to say maybe the 27 touchdown range, 27 to 10 touchdown to interception ratio, something like that. But who the heck knows? 5 though. Did I miss trophy lift? I show no. I appreciate you being here. I have no idea what that means. Aggressive like that 5,000 would be great. Oh, 5,000. Okay, my bad. I get that now. That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be excellent. The fact that the players are freshmen and sophomores, I think we as fans are too critical We lost our DC. This is right here. It's new staff coming in, lost a lot of guys in the portal, and the defense still did what they did. It is an energy about this defense, and that's what's going to make this defense that much better. Is they still play with that energy, they still play with that confidence that they're not going to be beat when they get down in the red zone, get their backs up against the wall, and that's something we haven't had in Nebraska in a long time. Barney's one tough kid. Yes, he loves contact. Even for his size, he loves contact harder than a coffin nail. And he likes to jump up and let you know, like, I'm not hurt by that. College is a portal game. Now as players move for the cash. Nebraska still did a pretty good job of retaining a lot of the roster, all things considered, because, lost a lot of guys that would have been a part of the defense next year, but for obvious reasons. Again, defensive staff turnover, stuff like that. And then, of course, got to get them under the 105 scholarship limit. But the portal is constantly changing each year. It's just eventually they're going to have to do some kind of regulation in regards to that. Has anybody picked up Williams out of the portal? I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank on which Williams you're talking about, if you don't mind clarifying. Because every time I hear Williams, I think of a winery. How it looking with? So it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Again, I don't know when he's going to announce or anything like that, but right now, where we currently stand with him, I'm feeling very, very confident in that one right there. That'll do. All right, Pit Snipe back again with the donkey. This win should help getting more big talent from the spring portal. Exactly. Talked about that at the beginning of the show. This was a great showcase to really, next year's early part of the second portal stint this was a good showcase for them to see what this defense is going to look like and stuff like that. Did Beck Fleet Weiss in 93, 94 got a soft spot for New York City. They treat us like gold. Had idiots get in trouble at the broom closet with zero issues. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know if that'll happen these days, but went to a Yankee game. I was in uniform, blue coated guy grabbed my R as I was buying tickets, said your money's no good here. No man in uniform pays at Yankee Stadium. That was that's cool as well. I don't have any cool stories like that, man. Nobody paying for my stuff. Should have seen the blue suits that fetched us out of the stand straight out of Goodfellas casting. Do you think we're overanalyzing some of today's mistakes simply due to playing on the field and weather conditions? Yeah, I do. That had a huge factor in the game, 100%. Like I said, some of the cuts, breaking out of routes, even the defenders trying to stay with some of these routes as well. It's a different playing surface, and the nature of the wet surface and the cold add a lot of factors to that. So overall, still not a ton based on that we can really point to, except for special teams. That's horrible no matter what. We showed up with attitude, winning attitude. Loverell getting in that guy's face. Yeah, I feel like that really gave him the energy to close that game out without a doubt. He's like, we don't eat chowder where we're from. I had a lunch in the clubhouse with the players too. That's really cool, man. Oh, James Williams, duh. Yeah, James Williams, I believe he already went to Florida State. Yeah, he committed to Florida State. My fault on that. Which was pretty much expected. Shavers is only a true freshman. Yes, he is. McGahee was noticeable when he was on the field too. McGahee was also the one that forced the fumble at the end of that Colorado game as well. McGahee's been a big part of this defense at times, and overshadowed a little bit by Shavers, because Shavers has been excellent, but McGahee's going to be a force as well. Win more games, get or better bowl venue. We got the dub. Exactly. I started to have shades of the Iowa game after that punt block back when Smothers started that game. I think it was 2020. But all right, guys, I've kind of gotten to your comments. So if y'all got any more comments to drop in here, go ahead and get those going. But again, overall great performance. If you haven't seen my chain, my lucky chain, I like to credit this for the win. I might actually get one of these made and do a giveaway with these as well. So if y'all potentially want one of these, it lights up. It's got a chain if you want to wear it. I'm the psycho that wears stuff like this. So if y'all are interested in a giveaway in something like this, let me know. and I'll have one made, and I'll probably do the giveaway, and then it's a woodworking guy who custom makes it, so you can kind of get whatever design you want on it. So yeah, stay tuned for that because I'm gonna be doing a couple more giveaways. So if you're new here, please subscribe, drop a like, and follow me over at _H-Town Husker over on X if you are on X. That way you can stay up to date with all of the giveaway announcements and stuff like that as well. Let's see. Can't really hate on. Yeah, can't either. Just with his relationship that he had with oh my gosh, Terrence Knighton. I wonder how many of the players went to the portal, regret going to the portal. That is one thing I talked about before. I really want to see some numbers on this, and I think eventually we'll get some metrics on how many players end up kind of in a worse situation in terms of just numbers or snaps based on, because when they enter the portal, especially now with these 105 scholarship limits, there's not going to be as many spots available. So entering the portal with these limits, and then, when their spot's taken, trying to go back to the team, I hope we get some metrics here before too long as we get more seasons under our belt with just what is the success rate out of the portal with guys ending up in a better situation or with better numbers, stuff like that. Absolutely does. Yes, without a doubt. With the roster cutting this year, a lot of guys probably didn't like being led to the portal. Yeah, it's nature of the beast, unfortunately. But like Matt Rule talked about, he's kind of handling it with a 53-man scholarship or a 53-man roster here, 53-man roster of development, kind of like an NFL style. So these guys are playing, these guys are in the developmental. And then, of course, as people, get injured, stuff like that, bring people across. Just want to say thanks for all the analysis you do. The deep dive is a lot more insightful than just rage bait opinion. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's what I like to do more than speculation or just kind of, given opinion-based stuff. I just like to kind of throw some stuff that y'all can learn from and, give you an idea of what we're getting and what we're looking at on the field and try to put it in a way that everybody understands. So I do appreciate that. I put a lot of work into these videos. So thank you so much. Heard anything about the OT or O-line targets for Nebraska? Some D-line, D-tackle guys still out there? Yeah. Again, still feeling pretty good about the Washington State guy Famo. So we'll see what happens with that, but feeling pretty good about that, but still need to go get another offensive lineman, in my opinion, and probably some more D-line depth as well. So they're going to have signed contracts to keep players from the portal. They are going to have to do that eventually. Yes. In this portal this year, there's going to be a lot of fellas stepping down into JUCO or lower tier teams. Yeah, most likely. Dowdle landed anywhere yet? Kentucky. Dante Dowdle committed to Kentucky. Yeah, right there. The other big freshman wide receiver entered the portal an hour ago. Interesting. And the trade for Key. Hey, we won that trade. Moving from NIL pay for play will very likely slow down some of the portal movement without a doubt. And yeah, universities aren't able to do contracts as it currently sits, but more as this goes towards kind of almost like the NFL in a way. I'm wondering if they're going to start doing that, how that's going to work. Really hard to say because college players aren't allowed to have agents and stuff like that. But at this point, it's just a business, just like the NFL. So it's going to have to be regulated eventually because it's getting a little crazy out there with the portal. Absolutely, as we all are finding out. And yeah, like we talked about, a lot less spots going to be available. Love when Dylan was fired up. Yeah, I love to see that. And again, the confidence that he's playing with now, and the confidence that that's the killer instinct we want to see. We didn't see it on that 3rd and 5 with the play calling, but on that last drive, it seemed like they were just like, we're not going to lose this game, right? And that's the type of energy that we need going into next season. We needed to win this 1-score game going into next season. That gets us feeling a lot better about it. I will be doing a schedule breakdown, and I kind of quickly did one on a live stream. I think Vegas will probably put our over-under of wins about 7.5. Maybe 8.5, but they tend to be a little bit more conservative. But I see us, anywhere from 8 to 10 wins. I'm gonna say 8 or 9. But that week 4 game against Michigan is going to be a big part of how that season goes. Great smoke from Raiola. That's our quarterback, without a doubt. All right, everybody. Well, I appreciate you hopping in here for the post game. Thank you all so much for being with me on these post games throughout the season. I'm going to have live streams every Tuesday at 6 p.m. As we continue through the off season, but I'm also going to probably add in a call-in show. So I'm going to try to have a couple of live streams as we go through the off season, so that way, can interact more and just have a little bit of a different, vibe on the live streams as well. So love chatting with y'all. And yeah, if y'all do want the call-in shows, I'm gonna have them coming. I'm gonna be doing some members only live streams as well to give the members a benefit for the extra contribution. Appreciate that as well. So a lot of members content coming. My tiers are $2.99 for the Big Red Loyalist, the $4.99 tier for the Black Shirt Brigade, and the $9.99 tier for the 5-star Corn Connoisseurs. Black Shirt Brigade and up will get most of the stuff, and the first tier will get you the custom emojis that I have. So can't wait to see Key and Hunter catching passes from him. They seem to be much faster. Oh, it'll also get you priority comments as well. Can't seem to be catching passes from him. They seem to be much faster than Banks Nair. Yes, 100%. Next Chasing 3 is going to be lit. Sometimes I forget about that. I appreciate you, David. Thank you so much again for supporting the channel. You're awesome, man. Thank you. And go Buckeyes. Yeah, I'll give you one of those. Appreciate that, Ken. See you on Monday. Again, I'm going to be a Generation Red podcast. Going to be on with them as a host going forward every Monday. So if y'all are a fan of that show, make sure y'all go over there and check it out. I'll be on there talking recruiting and stuff like that as well. Go Big Red, Pete Snipe. All right. Again, appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support on the channel. And we'll still, 7:30 Central. So we'll be having a lot of content coming for y'all in the coming days, breakdowns and portal news as we get guys in. But one more comment. With it now being the off season, is the schedule the same? Yes, I will still be having the 6 p.m. Central live streams on Tuesdays, but I might be adding in a second live stream, like I said, a call-in show or something like that, and a members only live stream occasionally as well, where I probably have a guest on, former player or current player, something like that. So y'all stay tuned for that. But yeah, right now schedule is going to be the same. No problem, Mitchell. Appreciate you hopping on here, man, and thank y'all again so much. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next video. Peace.